Welcome to the channel rather dubiously called Rufioh. I'm the best Yu-Gi-Oh tuber in my street, a very average player who uses this platform to trick you into thinking I'm good at and capable of playing Yu-Gi-Oh on any kind of level at all. Before we get started, why don't you hit subscribe for me, even if it's not because you secretly enjoy bad content, but because you pity me. I need every bit of help I can get. Hi guys, this is Joe here from Rufioh. Apologies in advance if there are any weird noises or anything like that. I live in the noisiest house in the world. We'll get stuck into the video. Basically what I wanted to do is, before I pack this deck away for good, following my regional this weekend just gone, I wanted to show you guys the Scrap Recyler combo, just a basic one, and a couple of different lines of play you have on your way through it, depending on what your hand is and what happens during the play itself. The reason I'm uploading this is because myself, I didn't know this combo even just a few weeks ago. I didn't play when scraps were a bigger thing or being played. I didn't play Orcust last format, so I didn't get any experience of playing them. And I just wanted to share it in case you guys hadn't seen it before, especially players who are picking up the deck for the first time. Maybe you want to try this out, or of course, if you want to try it out in a different deck, then that's cool as well. Then most of this will be applicable. So hopefully this helps you in some way. If you feel I've missed something or you want any more information, please just drop it down in the comments and I'll take a look for you. So we'll go right ahead and we'll get stuck into the combo. Okay, so the basic setup of the combo is this. You need Scrap Recyler, and this essentially can become a one-card Apollousa. It can become a Curious. It can become so many things because it gains so much advantage if it resolves all the way. Actually, so many people don't stop this because they don't realize what it does, which is insane to me. It's also great going second because you can destroy a card on your opponent's side of the field, but we'll cover that in a bit more detail shortly. So we'll start off with the basic combo. So you'll start by summoning your Scrap Recyler, and with Scrap Recyler, we're going to send our Mecha-Phantom Beast O-Lion. Now, some people are running, I think it's Jet Synchron or something like that. The issue I have with that card is that it's really susceptible to being crowed, and then you don't gain the effect because you have to activate afterwards, whereas this activates when it hits the graveyard. So we're going to pretend this is in the graveyard, and the effect of this is going to summon us a token. Now at this stage you have a multitude of different ways you can go with this, so I'll cover those now. So the first option you have with this, and this is usually the way I go about this play, is that you turn this into a Scrap Wyvern. Now this card's just come out, it's pretty cheap, it's actually really nice. The whole engine's actually not too bad, the Golem's kind of expensive, but everything else isn't too bad, at least not in my opinion. But what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to turn these into a Scrap Wyvern. Now at this time, Scrap Wyvern's effect is going to activate, and we are going to summon back our Scrap Recyler. Now what you want to do before you do this is you want to get a card on the field that you can afford to destroy. So in this case, I'll just take this as an example. Let's say it's the only card left in your hand. At this stage you can just activate it and special summon it, it doesn't matter. So let's say this is on the field now. This is also where if your opponent's got a card comes in, we'll go into that in a moment. So you Scrap Wyvern's effect to bring back Recyler. Recyler summons, and then Scrap Wyvern's effect to destroy a card on the field happens now. For this part, you need to destroy the Scrap Recyler and not the Tsuchinoko or one of your opponent's cards, otherwise it just ends here. So you destroy the Scrap Recyler, which then goes to the grave, and that's then going to allow you to special summon a Scrap monster from deck. So we'll go ahead and summon the Scrap Golem. At this stage you must destroy another card on the field because this activates again. Now at this stage, if you're going first, you can destroy the Tsuchinoko, which will leave you with this. Or if your opponent has gone first, or they've maybe Phantasmade, which happens quite a lot of the time, you can then destroy that card on their side of the field instead. And then you're left with this. So we'll assume that we've destroyed the Tsuchinoko, so it's out the way. And then at this stage, you can then use Golem's effect to summon back the Recyler, which can then send a card to the graveyard. Now it's important to note that you couldn't activate this in the timing in between. So when we were back at this stage, and Golem wasn't out of the deck yet, the reason we can't activate it here when it gets summoned from grave is because it misses timing. So it's important to know that. And again, if you're playing against anyone who's using this, make sure that they don't try and screw you with that one, because it does miss timing. So usually what we end up with is this scenario. Now what you choose to dump off this is entirely up to you. I normally use this as an opportunity to get my Orcust combo going, or to get my Orcust cards in the grave. So I would send something like Orcust Nightmare, or of course if I've got a you know, like a ton of different extenders already, you can go ahead and send like a Gizmek or a Wild Wand or maybe a Skeleton, whatever you like, but I normally send this so that I can start doing Orcust things afterwards. Of course it's important that you don't use any Orcusts in the run up to this combo because you don't want to lock yourself into Darks, which will then ruin it for you. So depending on what option you've gone with, you're normally going to end up with this. Now there's a few different things you can do from here. Now it's worth noting that at this stage we have a ton of different options. So the most common one I personally go into is to go into Apollousa. So you can just literally link all of these off, go into Apollousa, and then if your opponent does happen to have a Nibiru, then they now can't kill you, and you get into this before that time comes up in terms of how many summons you've made. If you don't have something like a Tsuchinoko, you can just set a back row, that kind of thing, to destroy it on the way through. But my most common play is to end up with this. And that's nice enough. And then of course you still got Orcust options and that kind of thing. Now the other option is to maybe go into something like, say, Curious. So of course these are all different, which is something I didn't realize immediately when I was using this. This is a rock, this is a machine, this is a dragon. So you can literally just turn these into Curious and send whatever you need to send. Now there's a few other things you can do. So of course if you want to go back earlier in the combo and you don't want to go through the entire scrap combo, let's say you've opened the golem and you don't want to, like, you can't get it out of your hand, you can't do anything with it, but you've still got something like this, then you can go Scrap Recyler. Recycler will still send the O-Lion this time because this is something we always want to do. If people are going to hit it when they realise what this does, this is where they're going to hit it. So a lot of the time, as long as you've got another extender, you can actually still do your combo because you only need one scrap to go into this. So if you can get any other monster on board, you can actually go out your plays like normal. But we'll go here. Now, what you can opt to do from here, depending on how you want to do things, is you can actually go into Cherubini, which gives you a few different line of plays, because this is a 3 as well. So let's say we send these, token goes over there somewhere, and we make our Cherubini. Now from here, depending on which version of the deck you're running, you could choose to send an Orcust if that's what you're into. You could also choose to send our Phantom Knights of Silent Boots, so that we can then banish that and get our rank up magic, which is going to allow us to facilitate our True King of all Calamities and Dingirsu play, depending on what version of the deck you're running. I recommend running this. Some people are also running the Instant Fusion engine, in which case you may want to do this slightly differently because you need Winder here to be protected by Cherubini, but that's a video for another time. But that's the most common way that I do things. So that basically covers the majority of what I wanted to discuss. Like I say, you have a ton of different options. A lot of the time, I personally just go into Apollousa and then do Orcust plays from there on. I've normally got enough extenders to do whatever I want. But Scrap Recycle is insane. It's also not once per turn, so you know, if you can keep bringing it back for any number of ways, then of course you can just keep using that effect to dump into the grave. A lot of people realise after the first time you do it exactly what it does, and they'll try and stop it. But of course we have plenty of extenders to play around that. So hopefully you found this video beneficial in some way. It's my first attempt to do any kind of combo video, so if I'm not too sharp or fluff a little bit, please take my apologies on that one, but hopefully this at least gives you the information that you need to know. If you do want me to do any follow-up plays like test hands or anything like that, then I'd be happy to do those if the demand is high enough. Just dig out this deck and go through those plays for you. But that is it for this coverage of how to do the basic scrap combo. Again, there's a ton of different options you have depending on what variants you're running in the deck, but those are the most basic ones and usually the lines of play that I personally go down and have worked well for me. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed the garbage content I put together for you enough to hit subscribe and maybe even drop a thumbs up and a comment. Before you go, be sure to check out the links in the description to help support the people who are making this channel a possibility. Thanks again for checking in, and I'll see you in the next one.